Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to another Lunch and Learn with Purse Strings. For those who are new here, my name is Maggie, and every week we come on, provide tips, tricks, pieces of advice on how to be financially fearless. And then when you're ready to start managing your business finances, you're planning for retirement, maybe you need a will and a trust, anything finance, we have top tier financial professionals willing, ready, and able to serve you. We call those our Purse Strings approved professionals, and Lynette is one of them. And we're so excited to have her on today to talk about business financials and just kind of those basics to give us that good refresh, to kind of get started for our monthly theme of April, which is all about women in business. So before we dive into all of that, Lynette, would you give us a little intro of who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks, Maggie. Thanks for having me. I'm Lynette DeRose. I own Supporting Strategies Chicago Southland. We provide outsourced accounting services to small and medium-sized businesses.
Awesome. And you work across the country, correct?
Yeah, we have clients everywhere. Yep. We work
Awesome.
virtually with all of our clients. So we use web-based technology to facilitate the transfer of information. And yeah, so it works out great.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on today and sharing your expertise. I'm excited to kind of dive in. And if anyone has any questions along the way, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're happy to get to those as well. So starting with our business financials, what are some of the financial statements that every business owner should look at, and review monthly?
Those would be the balance sheet and the income statement. So your income statement, sometimes called P&L, profit and loss. Income statement shows you the activity for your business, your revenue, your expenses, that kind of thing. And then your balance sheet is the lifetime story of your business, whereas the P&L resets every year. The balance sheet carries over from year to year, grows and changes every year with your business. So balance sheet and P&L for sure.
Okay. And so, check those monthly to kind of know where you're at, how much you made, how much you spent every month, all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's kind of dive into each of those statements a little bit more. And you said the P&L is kind of a year over year look, correct?
Right. So an income statement goes back to zero at the beginning of every year. So the income statement is where you capture your sales, your revenues, and then also your expenses. So a revenue or your P&L is only as good as the information behind it.
Right.
So what you need to do every month is reconcile your bank statements that feed into your P&L so that you know that you've got everything in the right buckets. But also that review of your financial statements can show you maybe mistakes that you've made, or maybe if you can see you're spending way too much in advertising or way too much on legal fees, or if you have your budget, you can run your budget right next to your actuals so that you can kind of see where you're at on a monthly basis.
Right. And it's always interesting with, business finances. There's a lot of programs these days we pay for and different things like that. So some months have much higher expenses paying those annual fees. I know for an email system or a database that you use. And so it's really using some of these documents to help you prepare for those or to see those upcoming payments that you'll have to make.
Like when you need to renew your insurance, that's going to be a big cash outlay. So you need to know what month are you renewing your insurance? What month are you renewing, like you said, your CRM platform, so that you have the cash ready for those expenses. The cash flow statement is another statement you can use. It's not as easily understandable, I think, as balance sheet and income statement. But if if you're using a budget and you know what those expenses are coming, then you can plan ahead and be ready for them.
Definitely. Yeah, I always think that's the hardest thing to get ahead of, is knowing those ones that are upcoming and you're like, what month is that again that they come?
The annual ones catch you.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. And so, what do you recommend as the best way to either, track these numbers or get these, documents set up? Are you an Excel spreadsheet kind of person? Is this, on QuickBooks? What do you recommend?
QuickBooks definitely has platforms for all sizes of businesses, from the very small, brand new solopreneur. They even have a software a software that just does your Schedule C for you on your tax return. So it's not going to be like the full-blown QuickBooks, but it's going to help you track your ins and your outs for your Schedule C. And then they have kind of like a good, better, best in terms of their software subscriptions, that depending on how many employees you have or how many locations you have, or, you know, as big as you get,
Right.
QuickBooks can get as big as you need to. But, you know, there's other things like NetSuite. If you have a heavy inventory component, you're going to maybe like NetSuite better. There's Sage. Sage has a new well, it's not new, but it's web-based Sage now, and people
Okay.
do like that, larger companies. So, I mean, I could go on, but QuickBooks is a great start for most people.
And that's an interesting point that you brought up, is it kind of depends on your business. You know, if you
Yep.
are retail, or if you have, you know, that overhead, or if you're just, you know, everything's kind of virtual and you sell virtual product, that's different
Yeah.
from budgeting. I mean, it's different at every step of the way. And so it really reflects how you manage your finances.
If you're a service business versus like a physical product, you know, then even Square has a great POS system that clients use, and then Square can talk to QuickBooks. So maybe you have like a CRM or a POS that is standalone or separate from QuickBooks. A lot of software now, because QuickBooks is so popular, they'll talk to QuickBooks, or there's a way that you can link those two together. So just because you use QuickBooks doesn't mean you can't use something else to track your clients and track your business, because there's a lot out there, specific POS or CRMs that are going to help you get that detail that you won't get in QuickBooks.
Right. Yeah. It's little details from all these different systems that you have going on, and they're all talking to each other to really make that work.
Yep. That's something that we're really good at, is helping you figure out what's going to work best, and then getting it connected, getting them talking to each other, and then we can help you. Like if it's not working right, we can problem solve that, or we can help you. Like with Square is a huge level of detail. If you're selling a cup of coffee, it can tell you the size and the special things you did to it. Well, QuickBooks doesn't really care if you had, you know, I don't know,
A
whipped
mocha
cream on
latte
it.
versus
Yeah,
just a hot
exactly.
coffee.
Right, exactly. So you can kind of tailor that communication, so you're just keeping what you need in Square versus what you need in QuickBooks.
Right. Interesting. And so are there any, like, you know, super typical mistakes you see business owners make that you're always like, this is my piece of advice, you know, this is, you know, the direction I would give you to go? Because I'm sure you see a ton of things, you know, through the work that you do.
Listen, there's two things that I see so often is, don't mix business and personal. You need to have a business bank account and you need to have a personal bank account. Even as a solopreneur, even if you don't have a separate tax ID number, you still need a business bank account and a personal, and don't mix and match. You can pay yourself from your business account to your personal account. That's fine. But don't swipe that business debit card for something personal, or vice versa, because it's just keep your business on your business and your personal. So that's like number one. And the number two, when you're first starting out, some of the most important things you do is establishing your legal documents. So if you're in a partnership, especially, because at the beginning, everybody loves each other, but down the road, you know, business formation documents are, the purpose that they serve is sometimes worst case scenario, right? So we're best friends right now, Maggie, we're going to start a business, we're going to rule the world. And then you don't know that in 2 years, you're going to hate my guts because of some reason. And then you're like, we were best friends, so we didn't set anything up. That's like the worst thing you can do. So don't skimp on business formation documents or the cost of hiring an attorney to get those done, because it's super important.
Yeah, both of those were really great points. First of all, on those separate accounts, you know, when we were talking in the beginning about reconcile these things and understanding your budget, you can't understand two almost households of budget when they're intertwined like that.
Right. Right.
And so it's hard to kind of budget personally and professionally. So yeah, separating those right away and it's easy to open a bank account. It's not like that's a difficult thing to do. So keeping those separate is really essential.
Well, and separating, and if you have a separate tax ID for your business, which you should, that can protect your personal assets, right? So if somebody decides to sue you, they can sue your business, but they can't get your personal assets if you have that separate tax ID number.
Yeah.
So it's again taking those steps up front, because everything is great in the beginning and everybody's so excited, but some of these things that you do are really set up for worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You know, you never think somebody's going to steal from you. You never think somebody's going to cheat you out of whatever. But those business documents and that separate tax ID number, these are protections you're putting in place so that down the road, when those unforeseen things happen, you're protected.
Yeah, I mean, that's personal protection right there. It's essential for you, for your family, all these different things.
Yeah, if they sue you, they can take, your house. Like if
Right.
you're not protected, like you have to think like worst case scenario, what could happen, and then build those protections in so that that doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, definitely. But then I also really like that point of, having those legal documents in place to understand the structure of your business. I even know, I run purse strings with my mom, and of course, like we still have that in place. It's like, what's going to happen between us? It's mother daughter, it's trust, and we're like, no, it's essential to have in place. As a family business, whatever falls through, we want to make sure that ends just in business. And so, it's important to know where you stand on all these different things and have that in writing with you and your partner. Kind of like in marriage with legal documents or prenup and postnup.
Yeah.
It's just self-protection.
Well, what if somebody dies? I mean, you have to know, like, and what if, you're in business with your friend, but if that friend dies and then all of her stuff goes to her kids or her whoever, you're all of a sudden in business with those people now.
Right.
And like, what if you don't want to be in business with those people? Like, it's really making sure you've done the planning and you're checking the boxes to protect yourself.
Yeah, I love that. It is so important. And so if you work with a financial professional like yourself, to help with your business and your finances, how often do you usually meet with a client, or should someone meet with their professional about their business financials?
I would say at a minimum quarterly.
Okay.
If you have busier times of the year, you might want to make it monthly, but I definitely would suggest quarterly at a minimum. Just
Okay.
get in
Awesome.
there and help understand your balance sheet, understand your P&L. You can do some planning. You can put that budget together. We can help with budgets. We can help with forecasting. But I would say at a minimum quarterly.
Yeah, definitely. And when you work with people, what is like an average type of business size that you work with your clients? Is it all over the board, or do you work with?
We work with well-funded startups, but we also, probably I would say our sweet spot is annual revenues of maybe like $500,000 up to 18 or 20 million.
Okay.
We can be an entire accounting department for a business up to a certain size, and then at some point it does make sense for large companies to have somebody inside, but then we can work with the inside person on project basis, or we can fill a specific role. So if you just need help with accounts receivable, or you just need help with accounts payable, we can fit that role too. So depending on the size of the company, I love being the whole accounting department and helping business owners navigate, because they didn't start their business because they love to do accounting, right?
That's why you started your business.
That's why I started my business. So they got to be out there selling the widgets, doing their thing. And we can be behind the scenes, getting the bills paid, getting the clients invoiced, running the financial statements, running the payroll, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and that's super helpful because, like you said, I mean, by the time you do all that, you're working in your business and not on your business, which is a huge differentiation that we like to talk about, because it's so easy to get sucked in, working inside your business and doing these things that you're like, again, this is not, I teach guitar. This is not guitar.
Yeah, exactly right. And like, I can't even do my own books, right? Like if I want to grow my business, I can't be doing my books, right?
Right.
So that it took me a long time to let go, to be honest, but you get to the point where you're so busy, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having somebody else do it for you.
Totally agree. And I also think, even though you're an expert in what you do, having a fresh set of eyes is always helpful. Having a new perspective, or having, somebody else to be like, hey, maybe we can reallocate here or here, is helpful. So just having another opinion can be really great.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So yeah, we've already covered a ton of great information. Is there anything else about, women in business, starting their business, getting their financials in order that you think is really important for them to know?
I think that women don't give themselves enough credit for how good we are at, following your passion and don't doubt yourself. I think that's the thing. Don't second guess yourself, and believe in it, but then also take the next steps and the right steps to give yourself a solid footing
Yeah.
by, business bank account, business tax ID number, business software. Like business has to stay in business, personal has to stay in personal.
Definitely, definitely. I did talk to another professional one time. She's like, all these women are saying they're going to make this little business.
Hmm.
And she's like, it doesn't have to be a little business. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be a big business. And so,
Yeah.
get these things set up as if you are
Right.
going to be earning,
Hmm.
millions or even, half a million every year.
Hmm. Right.
Because it doesn't have to be just this little business thing on the
Hmm.
side. It can be
Hmm.
more if you want it to be. And so
Right.
she was like, I hate when people are like, oh, this small business. Like, no, let's
Yeah.
make it big.
Yeah, exactly. The sky's the limit. Like don't,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Set your sights high. Go for it.
Definitely. I love that. I
Hmm.
love that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise today. If someone was thinking about working with you, I know there's your email going through the bottom. Is that the best way for you to connect?
Yeah, definitely reach out to me via email. And I'd love to have a conversation. They can also find me on LinkedIn. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah,
Great.
just reach out.
Awesome. So yeah, Lynette is one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. So you can also check her out on our site, pursestrings.co. And thanks for tuning in today to start the month of Women in Business. Now we kind of get some of those basic financials down. We're ready to dig into the month. So I'm excited to see where we go. So thank you again, Lynette, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks, Maggie. Have a great day,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye-bye.